Grace, what is your opinion of No Child Left Behind, and where do you see the County Office of Ed fitting in? And then beyond that, what can the County Office of Ed do to help districts that have underperforming schools raise their performance?
No Child Left Behind certainly has its problems, but it also has the overall benefit of just creating that accountability and making a standard that nationwide makes sure that everyone has to meet a certain level. Without setting the bar somewhere, we were still just too random, if you will, as far as knowing which schools are doing right, which schools aren't doing well, which students in which areas, which demographics we're having, or special groupings we're having difficulties. And so in that No Child Left Behind brought focus to assessments and gave people more attention on just measuring how well you are doing. I think there's a lot of benefit there. Part of the revisions in No Child Left Behind, which hopefully we can see improvements over the years, is being able to make the measurements reasonable, comprehensive, so it's not just teaching to the test, that there'll be other measures included besides just reading and math, things like science, things like social studies, and even some effort, if there were able to include the arts, some way that we would have measurement and accountability for greater sets of academic performance than just math and science, or just math and English. As far as the county office role in No Child Left Behind, we do have oversight responsibility, and when schools are put into the performance improvement category, especially for 3 years, and they are required to work with a team, typically with the county office, but they can, under discussions with the county office, work with other state or other organizations to have a team to help them bring them out of their low performance area. For schools that for 5 years, I believe, and we're only 3 years into this, for 5 years who still consistently don't have achievement or performance requirements being met, the county office can actually take over the school district or take over the board and responsibilities and really run the district for them.
Thank you. Paul? Well, we just have 15 minutes left, so we want to keep our answers as concise as we can. So the county office was primarily the provider of alternative schools for at-risk children, and then it got out of the business, and now there's talk about whether it should get back into providing more community day schools and more alternative programs. Do you think it should, and if so, how it should go about it? Grace, why don't you start?
The county office does run a number of alternative schools for high-risk youth who have had difficulties in traditional comprehensive high schools. I've visited a few of them. I've attended graduations for some of them. Very inspiring, some of the stories of these kids who have really struggled and just not been able to fit in a traditional school, but have found the small alternative schools much more inspiring, brought them back into gear, set them up for success either in a career or for college or higher education. I think the new superintendent has a very strong commitment, along with the rest of the board and myself, for alternative schools. The high school dropout rate is particularly alarming, and we think that with successful alternative schools that will help pick up and address some of the issues there. I think that we had dropped out of our strong alternative school programs for a while, but now with the new superintendent and the new deputy superintendent, who will be in charge also of alternative schools, I think we look for some real progress.
Thank you. So, Ellen, on the issue of alternative schools, the county was at one point the primary provider of alternative schools for at-risk children through community day schools and the like, and then it got out of the business, and it's beginning to start new programs and see this. Is this a priority of yours, and how do you think the office should go about establishing them if it's important to you?
I do think alternative schools are important. I do think that there are students who need the help and the resources that alternative schools provide that the regular schools can't provide for them for a number of reasons. So I do think that's important. I also think that it's good that the county is involved, and I think that it helps because it's not, it depends upon where the resources come from and how those resources are being taken away. When I visited the Foundry, one of the schools run by the county, part of the problem was the school districts didn't want to give up the funding for that student. And I think it all depends upon, is it ADA, average daily attendance, or basic aid? Basic aid districts might be more inclined to say, he's your problem, where average daily attendance say, we want to keep him here because we get the funding. So I think those are issues to think about and that the board should think about in terms of how to fund the alternative schools. But I think keeping in mind that the students and the well-being of the students, that's the most important thing, and how can we best meet their needs so they're successful.
Thank you.
And Ellen, let me start with you on the next question. What is your view of the current County Office of Ed board, generally? How do you think you would fit in or bring change to the board? And then how do you think the board should be measured 4 years from now?
My current view of the board is I think they're doing a fine job.
Okay.
You know, I think I would fit in well. I looked at the bios of the other people on the board, and they all seem committed to education, and that's something that I am also, so I think I would fit in well. And I think that
How they'd be measured?
how should the board be measured? I think, have we helped the school districts? Have the school districts done well? Are we getting in the way, or are we facilitating the success? So I think we should be measured in how well we resolve issues and how well we help. If the school districts think that we've done a good job, have we helped them, or are we getting in their way? Some of the changes I'd like to see, I think it would be nice to do something like this videotaping, put it up on YouTube or Google, and get it out to the various districts so they know what we're up to, know what we're doing, the different things we're deciding on. I know the minutes are on the web already, which is excellent. So doing that, and then maybe making it easier for districts to find resources. There are some good resources on the SCCOE website, but grants for different school districts, bringing that to the forefront as money gets tighter, ways to bring money into the districts.
Thank you.
So.
And Grace, you're the incumbent, so what is your view of the current board? How do you work with your colleagues currently? How do you view that changing or expect that to change going forward? And how do you think the board should be measured?
I've really enjoyed working with the current board. I think we've worked very well as a team together through the issues that we've dealt with in management and in hiring a new superintendent. We are not all cookie cutters of each other. We definitely have disagreements about particular topics and items, and we haven't always had a unanimous vote on everything. But I think that we have a very good working relationship. Our professionalism has really shown through. As far as measurements for the board, I think that will be done by seeing how successfully the County Office of Education runs. And the kinds of metrics that we're looking at that we've set with the superintendent, setting a good example of the school that the county runs as far as being able to track and accountability and assessment for our students, making ourselves an advocate for Santa Clara education, both in Sacramento and across the nation. As far as being a premier employer, so that all are really satisfied and happy that they're working at the with everybody and anybody. We want to hear feedback. If our at least with the choice of the superintendent, his workings, we look forward to more